SIRLEAF Broadcasting Corporation, hello and welcome to the weekend news. I am Bakar Bangura. In the headlines, President Ernest by KOROMA leaves Freetown for Chad, Egypt and Zimbabwe to hold consultations with heads of state and government on the United Nations reform. Mayor of the Freetown City Council officially commissions the BOLOLO Community Footpath Bridge in Freetown. Member of Parliament and councillors of constituency 103 have offered food items and cash to 60 mosques in the constituency, and the remains of war crime convict Alex Tambabrima, known as Gulit, laid to rest at the Wilberforce Cemetery. All the stories and more, including business and sports news, lined up here in this edition of the Weekend News. President Ernest by KOROMA has left Freetown with a 5-man delegation for Chad, Egypt and Zimbabwe to hold consultations with his colleagues, heads of state and governments on the United Nations reform as coordinator of the Committee of 10 Heads of States and Governments of the African Union. The President will also seize the opportunity to strengthen diplomatic relations and bilateral cooperation with those countries. President Ernest by KOROMA is expected to return to Freetown on Thursday, 30th of June. Mayor of Freetown City Council, Franklin Bode Gibson, has officially commissioned the BOLOLO Community Footpath Bridge back of Priscilla Street in Freetown. The bridge, worth 100 million leaves, was constructed with the hard work of Councillor Alusan Alukonte of Ward 380. Here's the story. For the past 60 years, residents of BOLOLO community have been finding it very difficult to cross over to Sykes Street and its environs as a result of the non-availability of a bridge. According to report, the stream that runs through the community has claimed the lives of people, including 2 school children. The construction of the footpath bridge is dedicated to the safety of people and in memory of M.R.U and other contributors who shared their aspirations with the Councillor of Ward 380, Alusan Alukonte, to provide the community with a bridge as promised. Access to BOLOLO community through Sykes Street was difficult, but with the commissioning, residents will breathe a sigh of relief and have easy access to both sides of the community. Commissioning the bridge, Mayor Franklin Bode Gibson paid tribute to those who have contributed in making the project a reality, including Pam Mason, Edward Davis Associate, among others. Mayor Gibson praised Councillor Alusan Conte for listening to the cries of the people. He called on the community to own the bridge and provide maximum security to prevent people from destroying the railings of the bridge. He said the mandate of the council is to address the needs of the people in the municipality, adding that the bridge will serve as a strong pillar for the movement of people from one community to another. He cautioned people not to construct houses in disaster-prone areas and ordered the demolition of this building to prevent people losing their lives. The brain behind the construction of the bridge, Councillor Alusan Alukonte of Ward 380, praised Edward Davis Associate and M.R.U for providing the support and funds. He said even though there were challenges, the construction of the bridge will benefit Ward 380 and 381.
The people asked that I should do a footbridge in this particular community. And by the grace of God, I think God gave me all the necessary support. He touched the heart of the CEO of Edward Davis and Associates so that he can help me in the area of funding, and also council to give me the necessary support. So it was during 2008 when these people, the first meeting that I had with my people, they asked for a footbridge to gain access to the Sykes Street environs. And indeed, I've landed the footbridge.
Councillor Conte commended the youths, ward committee members and elders of the community for their interventions in monitoring every aspect of the construction work. He said this is just the tip of the iceberg as more projects are in the pipeline for Ward 380. The Member of Parliament for Constituency 107, Honorable Francis Kowa, said development is every individual responsibility in the community. He described the community as an eye-opener to all and promised to give his maximum support and cooperation to the councillor for the development of the community. Other speakers at the ceremony were pleased with the level of work being done so far by the councillor and encouraged residents to keep the community clean. The cutting of the tape by Mayor Franklin Bode Gibson climaxed the event. Member of Parliament Honorable Rosalind Jariatu Smith and councillors of constituencies 103 have offered bags of rice and cash to 60 mosques in the constituency. Honorable Smith noted that the Muslims are observing the Ramadan, notwithstanding the current hardship Ebola has positioned the country. The MP called on the Muslims to continue to pray for the country and the President Ernest Bai Koroma to succeed with his vision. She informed the Muslim that many investors ran away following the outbreak of Ebola. Honorable Smith said iron ore companies that used to pay huge amounts of money to the country have ceased operations due to the fall in world price, making it meaningless to mine. According to Honorable Smith, government has invested heavily on roads in the districts, cities and trunk roads, the country, which is why the money is not circulating. Sheikh Tijan Din noted that Honorable Rosalind Smith does the chance people to help in her constituency irrespective of their political affiliations. He appealed to the people for more support to the Member of Parliament to continue to assist them. A skills upgrading center to provide entrepreneurship skills for graduates from technical and vocational institutions is under construction in MAKENI. The initiative by Mankind's Activities for Development Accreditation Movement, Madam, is a step to support the middle-level manpower training in the country. Princess Gibson was at the bricklaying ceremony, and she now reports from MAKENI.
Middle-level manpower education has been a missing link in the country's educational system. Since the introduction of the 6334 system of education to enhance middle-level manpower, much has not been achieved due to inadequate structures. This center will provide entrepreneurship skills training for graduates from technical and vocational institutions, equipped with modern facilities to carve an outstanding image of an institution that specializes in training. Mohamed Conte is the director of Mankind's Activities for Development Accreditation Movement, Madam.
On this center itself, the Skills Upgrading Center will provide training in entrepreneurship for graduates from technical and vocational institutions. It will also provide skills training in competence-based training for technical and vocational teachers. You will of course agree with me that some of the teachers, technical teachers in vocational and technical institutions do not have a formal training in pedagogy. They are not trained teachers. So this center can also provide skills in pedagogical skills for those teachers.
Keynote speaker, Minister of Education, Dr. Mikhail Ba, emphasized the importance of middle-level manpower in educational system. He says decision on courses of study should be based on its relevance in society. The Education Minister called on young people to value skills training and take advantage of the opportunity to benefit the community. He also calls on the involvement of the community in the development of young people. A member of the board of Madam Balu Kamara says the initiative is in line with government's policy to build the capacity of young people. She describes the private sector as a vehicle to promote economy, pointing out that Madam is a credible organization. The paramount chief of Shebora Chiefdom, Honorable by Shebora Kasanga, says the construction of the Skills Upgrading Center is laudable venture by Madam. He says the activities of Madam is outstanding in MAKENI and call on young people to embrace the opportunity, pointing out that the grammar school system of education is not the only way for sustainable livelihood. Other stakeholders also made meaningful contributions. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
Well, that was Princess Gibson reporting. The remains of war crime convict Alex Tambabrima, known as Gulit, have been laid to rest at the Wilberforce Cemetery in Freetown. The late Tambabrima was serving his 50 years jail term in Rwanda until his death after a protracted illness on Thursday, 9th June 2016 in Rwanda. Hundreds of mourners, including family members, friends, and military officers, converged at the Armed Forces Headquarters Church to pay their last respects. Tributes were paid by the family, friends, and the church, describing the late Alex Tambabrima as hardworking, respectful, and developmental-oriented person. The late Tambabrima was convicted on the 29th of June 2007 on 11 counts charge. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison by the Special Court for Sierra Leone for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed during Sierra Leone's 11 years conflict. He died in the King Faisal Hospital in Kigali, Rwanda, after serving 13 years in prison. His remains were handed over to his family by the residual Special Courts for Sierra Leone. Well, this is News on Live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. And now to another story following here this evening. President Ernest by KOROMA has called on his colleagues, heads of states of the Mano River Union, to continue to work together as the four countries are one family that shares the same feature, language, and religions. President KOROMA was addressing the opening ceremony of the 24th Ordinary Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Mano River Union in CONAKY, Guinea. Razia Bashkamara sent in this report for the Weekend News. In his opening statement, the chairman of the Mano River Union Summit of Heads of States and Government, Professor Alpha Conde of the Republic of Guinea, disclosed that the Constitution of the Mano River Union has committed the people of the MR.U basin to adhere to the ideals of the Union in maintaining peace and security. President Conde said they, as head of states and governments, will discuss the implementation of the post-Ebola recovery program, which is a national plan done by the three most affected states of the Ebola outbreak, which they are unable to implement. He maintained that during the summit, as affected heads of states and government, they will try to map the way forward by addressing the pending challenges for the implementation of the national plan. The Guinean president also expressed profound gratitude to their development partners who have continued to give them support in their development efforts, especially in curbing the Ebola virus and in coordinating the national post-Ebola recovery plan. President Alpha Conde also expressed appreciation to his colleagues for their continued commitment in fighting the cause for the Mano River Union. The President of the Republic of Liberia, President Helen Johnson Sirleaf, thanked President Alpha Conde for hosting the meeting and expressed satisfaction that even in the midst of events, their union continues to be strong and their people continue to hold on together. She also expressed delight that the fact that the heads of state and government of the Mano River Union, they have continued working together and that will continue to work together. The Liberian president also thanked development partners who have continued continue to support them in the consolidation of the national plan in ensuring that the health institutions are strengthening. President Johnson Sirleaf reaffirmed that as heads of states and government of the M.R.U Union, they will continue to work as sister countries in meeting the needs of their people.
There is a post-Ebola recovery plan, not only on a national basis, but we all know that we must now work together to consolidate those plans into our sub-regional goals and to go back and work with our partners who have made some great commitments to us to ensure that the post-Ebola plan enable us to have the health systems that respond to our needs to ensure that we do not face such a disaster again.
Delivering his statement, President Ernest by KOROMA said in the M.R.U Union, they are the same people, they share the same culture, languages and religion, and that they are the same because their countries are interlinked, that their people do not even notice their boundaries. The president added that they have the same boundaries because they share the same opportunities, challenges and threats, and their destinies are the same. He pointed out that it is the reason why they rise and fall together. They must work together and design and implement a common development agenda. President KOROMA maintained that it is the reason why he also not surprised by the warm and cordial reception that his delegation and himself have received in Conakry, for which he expressed profound thanks and appreciation to President Alpha Condé, the government and people of Guinea for the warmth and hospitality accorded them.
I am delighted to join you here today to take strategic decisions affecting the destiny of our citizens following our bitter recollections of the past 2 years of the devastating Ebola epidemic. We cannot bring back the lives that we have lost, but together we will build our badly hit economies and restore the hopes of our youth and improve the lives of our citizens. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is why we are meeting here today, to deliberate on ways and means to reactivate and re-energize our union, and it is also to demonstrate our resilience to forge ahead even after the Ebola outbreak. We recall that our forefathers established this union over 40 years ago. They emphasized on economic integration as a major pillar, and I believe we have made great efforts in working towards that vision. But notwithstanding that, over the period of 40 years, we have had challenges, we have had difficulties. It was civil war for Liberia and Sierra Leone some years back, and recently Ebola for Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone. It has in effect devastated our plans, reversals to the gains that we have made. But that is why we are here today, to look at the institution itself that is charged with the responsibility to run the affairs of the M.R.U Union.
The Deputy Minister of Health and Sanitation, ZULIATU, has launched the Maternal and Child Health Week, commonly known as Mommy and Pikin Well Body Week, at the Kabbalah Community Center, KOINADUGU District. The campaign, amongst others, is to provide free, cost-effective, life-saving intervention to women and children. Our health correspondent Joseph Stanley filed in this report.
The campaign is geared towards increasing coverage for various life-saving interventions that impact positively on the welfare of women and children, thereby reducing morbidity and mortality. According to Madam Cooper, the campaign is part of the ministry's effort to improve access to maternal and child health services in line with government agenda for prosperity. She said the campaign will be conducted and integrated with essential maternal and child health services. The Deputy Minister too added that the ministry and partners are using the campaign as another platform to provide essential health services to women and children to regain public confidence in the health system. She urged all Sierra Leoneans to take advantage of the opportunity and ensure that all children under 5 years of age and pregnant women to benefit from the free life-saving interventions.
The Ministry of Health and Sanitation and partnership, they actually use this campaign for provide the essential health service system when as part of His Excellency agenda for prosperity for everybody, because people then, when we need for target, like grassroots people then.
Madam ZULIATU Cooper recognized the tremendous role of the WHO, UNICEF, Ellen Keller International, and other health development partners for their commitment in promoting child survival and development in the country. The Paramount Chief of the Mbela Sunkaya Chiefdom and Chairman, Council of Paramount Chief, Honorable Alhaji Almami Lahai Mansare V, outlined the importance of the campaign as it is meant to provide cost-effective interventions for women and children. He encouraged his colleagues to construct birth waiting homes in their respective chiefdoms and appealed to government for the construction of a blood bank at the government hospital at Kabala, as some patients are in dire need of blood, especially during emergencies. A representative of Ellen Keller International, Hamid Toure, referred to the campaign as an appropriate intervention for the vulnerable and disadvantaged who are in dire need for health assistance. He pledged his organization continued support to the health ministry, especially to save the lives of women and children in the country. Giving an overview of the Maternal and Child Health Week, the program manager, Child Health and Expanded Program on Immunization, Dr. Dennis Mark, maintained that the focus of the campaign is to reach as many children as possible and provide an opportunity for reaching missed children as well as pregnant women in an effort aimed at implementing the facility-based service delivery. Several other speakers, while making their contributions, encouraged parents and caregivers to ensure that their children benefit from the free interventions that is geared towards saving lives. The administration of vitamin A and inspection of the health fair formed part of the launching ceremony. SLBC News Joseph Stanley reporting.
The Independent Media Commission (IMC) is to file an appeal against the ruling which was handed down by Honorable Justice Musukama in the matter between David Tambayo and the Independent Media Commission. An IMC press release explains that the IMC Act 2000 mandates the Commission to protect the interest of the public against exploitation or abuse by media institutions. According to the release, the judgment did not address this cardinal mandate of the IMC, as the Commission had always ensured that journalists are given a fair hearing by their peers. The IMC release adds that contrary to claims made in the media by Mr. Tambayo, the court in the judgment did not order compensation to the plaintiff, but considered the cost of the case be determined by the master and registrar. Therefore, the release went on, the IMC does not have to pay compensation, and David Tambayo may have confused the issue, the release concludes. Well, we are going for a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Well, to end the weekend news, the main points again. President Ernest by KOROMA has left Freetown for Chad, Egypt and Zimbabwe to hold consultations with heads of states and governments on the United Nations reform. The mayor of Freetown City Council, Franklin Body Gibson, has officially commissioned the BOLOLO Community Footpath Bridge in Freetown. The Member of Parliament and councillors of constituency 013 have offered food items and cash to 60 mosques in the community. And the remains of war crime convict Alex Tambabrama, known as Gulicht, have been laid to rest at the Wilberforce Cemetery. Well, that's all in this edition of the Weekend News, broadcast live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. On behalf of the news editor Ibrahim Ansari and the rest of the team, I am Bakar, Bangura in Freetown. For more information about the programs, do send us an email to contact us at slbc.sl. Thanks for watching. Good night and happy people.